So, very good morning to all of you. And this is Lalit Jain from ITEDGE Institute of Technology. Welcome you for this webinar on web scraping using Python. So, I'm not familiar with all of you all, but I would really appreciate if you all can help me with uh, those who are already with Python, who are working with Python or they know Python, and they are like, or those who are totally new to Python. So accordingly, I can help you all in terms of your queries as well as questions. So if anybody who is like who knows Python or has done web scraping earlier also, can you just raise your hands, or you can just in your chat box, so that I come to know that who all are like quite comfortable with Python. As no worries, if even though if you are not comfortable with Python, you don't know Python, not an issue. We'll be doing a bit of like I'll be showing you everything with the basic concepts. I'll make sure that I'll be discussing this web scraping using Python in very simple terms, so that you come to understand what basically you'll be looking at, or what is the concept of web scraping. So I hope here everybody, I think everybody is quite aware of Python, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine, good. Okay, if you're not aware, not an issue. We'll go ahead with this webinar on web scraping. I suppose this word web scraping, I suppose this you'll be very curious about this word. What is this web scraping all about? And why should we learn web scraping, or what it does basically, web scraping and all. So I'll be discussing each and everything in detail in this session, as well as we'll have a live demo how can we scrap a particular website. Okay, so I
Yes,
hope you
sir.
all are excited. So should we go ahead with this session?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So I have for the first half of this session, I'll be doing a small or running a small presentation where we'll in detail we'll see what is web scraping and everything, and then at the second half of the session, I'll be covering up a practical where I'll demonstrate how we can scrap a website for some data. Okay, so let's start with this. I would like to share my screen right now. Okay, web scraping with Python. So today's agenda for this webinar is why is web scraping used? The major question right now, everybody who are not aware of this term. So why is web scraping used? What is web scraping? Is web scraping legal in our India or in other countries? Why is Python used for web scraping? Is it good? And how do you scrap data from a website? I'll sum up with some simple steps how will you scrap data from a website. I'll be talking about some uh, latest as well as most popular libraries you can use for web scraping, and we'll see a live demo how to scrap data from a website. So that's my agenda for this webinar. Okay, so why is web scraping used? I suppose here you can see this answer. Web scraping is used to collect large information from websites. But why does someone has to collect such large data? The reason are these the five simple points. Price comparison. You can see this price comparison. So like there are various websites like right now in India. there is this sale going on. There is a lot of sales going on e-commerce sites because of this festive season. So there may be different companies like Flipkart, Amazon, Mintra. These want to compare each other prices for the same product. So as we know, Flipkart, Amazon, they sell lakhs of products on their website. So we cannot go on each and every product page and get the price. So if I tell you, within a minute you can scrap somewhere around 400 to 500 pages, and you can fetch all the data, that is the product name, the price, the discount price, and everything, then that is what is web scraping all about. You want to get email address, like there are many companies who use email address to market their products. It's a kind of digital marketing. So
Yes, sir.
they would like to have email IDs, okay, bulk email IDs. So how they can fetch that? Like in India, there is something called Just Dial. There are so many Naukri.com. There are so many sites where you can get email IDs. So with web scraping, within seconds you can scrap the whole website and get the email IDs of the respective companies. Social media, as I told you, social media, like for example, you are quite fond of Twitter or maybe Instagram or a Facebook, where you want to scrap or you want to collect or you need to extract data, like in terms of images. Sir, I want all the images of a particular company or a particular account with the images as well as the post content. You can do that with web scraping. Research and development, there are so many companies, large amount of data is available on Google, where there are so many websites which provide statistics, general information. There's so many things, right? So what you can do, you can fetch the data from there and you can use it on your website. Like I'll be showing you today the same example. Just think about, there is this site called Worldometer, which basically describes or provides general information about uh, what the population all over the world in different countries, as well as there is this COVID-19 situation right now going on. So we can even fetch the number of cases, new cases, how many cases are there in respective countries and all. So such all information you can get in within few seconds. Okay, job listings, we can see this job listings, details regarding job openings, interviews. You want to scrap Naukri.com, you want to scratch maybe you want to get the data from various job portals, you can do that with web scraping. So next is what is next? What is web scraping then? In simple terms, web scraping is an automated method used to extract large amount of data from a website. The data on the websites are unstructured, but with the help of web scraping, we collect unstructured data and store it in a structured form. Now, just think about what is unstructured data and what is structured data. Like if I talk about unstructured data, means data which is in a raw format, which you cannot use to define or you cannot use it to collect some or get some information. We need to structure them, we need to manipulate them and keep it in a structured format. Like for example, the best form of keeping a data in a structured format is nothing but in a tabular format. That is why Excel is so popular in the world, because the data saved inside Excel is in a structured format, in a tabular format, in row columns. So when it comes to web scraping also, as we know, the data on a website is in an unstructured manner, but with web scraping you can fetch or collect unstructured data and you can save it While saving it, you can save it in a structured format, in an XML file, in a CSV file, that is in an Excel file, or a JSON file, right? I'll show you an example. I'll be showing you a live example. How can you save data in a XML file, or a JSON file, or maybe a CSV file? Okay, so these are the different ways. Like here you can see web pages, what you want to scratch, or from where you want to collect data. You provide those web pages to the web scraping tools, and then once they scratch the data, they'll save it into a structured format, so that once you fetch those data, you can use it for your own purpose. Okay, I hope everybody is getting this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is web scrapping legal? Now this is a very important term. In many countries this is not legal, but when it comes to India, yes, still it is legal, and we can scrap data from a particular website. Now, sir, but there is one question. Sir, how can I scrap data from Flipkart or Amazon? These are big MNC companies, e-commerce giants. They can sue me, right? But no, that is not possible. Look, when it comes to web scraping being legal, now these companies like flipkart.com, if I go to this link here, okay, every website has this file, robots.txt. Here you can see this. I hope everybody can see this file.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when whenever some like flipkart or maybe Amazon or any website does not want the spiders or the bots to scroll a particular page, so they'll mention it here inside this robots.txt file. So here you can see there is so many pages here which are being blocked, disallowed. You can see this disallowed. So even though if I'm using web scraping, I cannot scrap these pages. So this is how the Flipkart restricts pages or restricts spiders to scrap their pages. Is it okay? So apart from this, if there is something called allowed, pages which are allowed can be easily scrapped by your web scrapper. I hope everybody understood this. Robots.txt is available for all major sites where these people mention that which particular page is allowed to scrap and which is not. Okay, so it is beyond our like we cannot manage this. If a particular page is disallowed, not even your web scraper cannot scrap that. Okay, so you have to keep an eye on this file, and if this file says allow, then that particular page is allowed to scrap. Okay, so I hope you all understood this, right? Okay, so as I told you, to know whether a website allows web scraping or not, you can look at the website's robots.txt file. You can find this file by just appending it with the URL, as I showed you an example here. So here you'll get the list of all those web pages which can be scrapped. Now, why is Python good for web scraping? Now, as I tell you, like Python is not only the programming language through which you can scrap a particular website. There is JavaScript, there is Node.js, there are n number of technologies through which you can scrap a website. But Python being easy to use, we have large collections of libraries available. dynamic typing. Its syntax is very easy to understand and learn. With a small code, we can do large amount of tasks. And the most important thing, you have a great community backup. Like there are n number of people on Python community. You can just add your queries there, your questions there, and definitely someone would really help you with the answer. So that is why I feel Python is very good for web scraping. Okay. Next important thing, how do you scrap data from a website? Sir, you're talking about, okay, fine, Python is this and that, I can use web. So what are the steps basically? What are the steps? Here you can see there are 6 steps, what I've mentioned here. Okay, these 6 steps are required to be followed when you want to scrap a particular website. Like for example, here you can see find the URL that you want to scrap. Like for example, you need to select a particular website or a web page where you want to scrap the data from that. Inspecting the page, yes, you need to search or inspect the page, which particular part of that website or web data you want. Getting it? So inspecting the page, finding the data you want to extract, we need to write some code, and once the code runs, the data is extracted, and at the end we'll try to save that data in the required format, that is either a JSON, XML, or maybe CSV file. It's all up to us. So these are the 6 steps basically we need to follow. So now, the best libraries used for web scraping. If I talk about Python, look, there are various applications, there are different libraries for different purposes. So here you can see I've listed 5 most famous and most used libraries for web scraping. The first is the Scrapy, which I'll be using for the demonstration purpose. There is this request library for web scraping, LXML library, Beautiful Soap, Selenium library. So there are n number of libraries through which what you can do, you can scrap a particular website or a web page. So I'll be using the Scrapy, which is very easy and very powerful and very fast. Okay, so this is all about the first part where I wanted to discuss few things about web scraping. Now, at the end of this session, I would like the first half of this session, as I'm ending up with this presentation, I would like everybody to just make a note of this. Like if you really like these sessions and all, like we'll be adding a lot of other sessions. You can really follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel, as well as you can also visit our website for other uh, programming training purpose. We do provide trainings on various technologies, Python, PHP, Java, .NET. A lot of things we do provide, as well as we also have knowledge sharing webinars, like right now what you are attending. So there are a lot of new technologies coming. We will be soon adding a webinar on AI, how to create chatbots and all. So be always like follow us, and you will be updated with all the latest technologies, new trends in IT, as well as in programming. Okay, so now I'll just end up with this presentation, and let's start with some practicals. Let's go ahead and scrap our website. Okay, so now look, now the first thing I'll tell you that you need to have various kinds of prerequisite applications, or you can say softwares, installed before going ahead with this training. Okay, with this particular process, like if I want to scrap, I need to setup, or I have to set up the environment. So this, like setting up the environment is actually out of the scope of this particular webinar. Actually, I've set up the environment already on my machine. Okay, so there are, if you want to know more about this, you can message me, or you can directly follow us, or you can message us on our Instagram or Facebook, or else I would suggest you can just contact us on this number if you want to know more about the training and other things. You can, like, just contact us on this number. You can directly message us. Okay, so fine. So as in right now, okay, here is one of the most important prerequisite for this particular web scraping scenario. I hope, I don't know, those who have heard of this Anaconda. If you're not heard of this, it's nothing but it's like a package which provides you all the libraries which Python uses. Okay, so Anaconda is something, it's a free available open source package. You can easily download this from Google. Okay, so I have set up the environment right now. Okay, now what I need to do, I need to start working with my workspace. Right now, what I'll do, I'll just look. I know you all be very curious about, sir, how did you set up this whole environment and everything. But right now we have a limited time period, and I cannot help you with the whole setting up the environment. Everything. Maybe in future, if I get some request for how to set up the environment, everything, we'll sure add a webinar on that also. But right now, be with me, and I'll be showing you how we'll be going at step by step, how to create a project, how to create a spider which will be scrapping a particular website or a web page, and how we'll be collecting the data and storing it. So all those 6 steps I'll be showing you right now. Okay, so here I go to virtual workspace. If you don't know about this virtual workspace is nothing but it's a basic directory or a folder in on my machine. Okay, so I'll just open the terminal. Okay, and here you can see users, and that's my name, Lalit Jain. Okay, so this is my PC where I've set up this virtual environment. Now the first thing is we need to create a project directory, or you can say a repository where you can keep all your projects. So here what I'll do, I'll just create a simple folder here. Remember, C users Lalit. Inside this, I'm trying to create a project, a folder with this name called new projects maybe. Okay, I enter this. Now I'll move ahead into this folder, new projects. Now this is done. Now next important thing is to set up a Scrapy project. Now look, what I have done is just created a project, a folder, and now within this folder I need to create a Scrapy folder, or you can say a Scrapy project. So what is the command for creating a Scrapy project? Scrapy, as I told you, Scrapy is our tool to through which, a library through which I will be scrapping a website. So you need to be aware of this Scrapy uh, library, which consists of a lot of commands and everything. So that is the fundamental part, that is basically a fundamental parts of this training. But right now, uh, due to lack of time, I cannot go ahead with all this stuff. If you really want to know all this about Scrapy and how things work, how this things, you can contact me on my number which I shared you. As well as one more important thing, this particular webinar will be uploading on our YouTube channel. So you can just go to our YouTube channel, and you can just you can see this whole webinar there also. Okay, and if you want, you can subscribe our YouTube channel for more interesting videos. So I'll say I need to create a Scrapy project. So the command is Scrapy. I'll say start project, and I'll name it as new project, or maybe I'll say world or me too, maybe. Okay, or else rather than I'll keep it simple. New project. Okay, okay, fine. So once I hit this, it takes a bit of time to create a whole project. Oh, great. Okay, here you can see this. It says the Scrapy project has been created. Okay, so look at this. Now, if I just navigate to this particular section here on my PC, if I go to this particular, just a minute, I'll come up here. Okay, new project, and here look at this. We have created this project. Here we
Yes,
have
sir.
this. Here we have this scrappy.config file. If you go within the project, here you can see this. There are some Python files, and the most important is the spider folder. Right now, this spider folder has only one single Python file. So now you will be you all would have an question: what is this spiders? Spiders are nothing but small programs which crawl on a particular website to fetch or extract data from that. So I'll be creating a spider so that I want a particular website to be scrapped and to fetch the information. So who is the basic, which is the basic component in web scraping is the spider. The spider goes to that particular web page and it'll scrap the data, and it will allow me to save that data. Okay, he'll bring that data for me and I'll be saving that. So today I'll be showing how to create a spider and how to give a command to the spider to basically scrap a particular website. Okay, so here, okay, this my project has already been created. Now it says just move into the project and get connect your, create your spider. Here you can see this Scrapy generate spider. The spider name, you need to mention your spider name. The spider name should be unique, and you mention the URL for which this spider will be scrapping the data from. Okay, so before going ahead, let us see which particular website I have been selected to scrap the data. Okay, so I'll go to my Chrome here. Here you can see this website. Okay, here you can see this website called www.worldometers.info. There is this world population by country. Here you can see this, the list of all the countries in the world with their current population. So what I want basically here, I want to scrap the country names and the current population from this particular page within a second. Getting it? This is what I want to show you today. As we can do a lot of things, I can we can go into a particular country, we can click it, and here Once inside this, you can even fetch the details for each and every year. Like for year, you can see this right from the year 1955 till to 2020. I can fetch all the details, the year, the population, even everything. Here, whatever is mentioned on this particular website, I can easily scrap. But for this session, I'll keep it simple. I'll be showing you how can I scrap the country name and the or what I'll say, the country name and the what we can say, the title and the country name, basically from the population perspective. Okay, the title and the country name and everything. Okay, so let's start with this. Let's go ahead and create a spider. Okay, so I hope everybody's listening to me, and I hope everybody is
Yes,
understanding
sir.
what I'm trying to tell you all about, or I'm showing. Okay, hopefully. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so fine. So I'll go to my command prompt. Now let's go ahead into our project. And now, Scrappy, create a spider for me. That is Gen Spider. I'll name it as countries. I need to fetch the country names and all. And you need to mention the URL. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this URL. Just copy this. I'll come up here. I'll just paste it in. Now, there are a few things you need to make a note of this. Like while you assign a URL to a spider, make sure you remove this slash backslash, as well as you need to make sure you remove this protocol, that is https colon double slash. You need not enter this. Why? Because the spider by itself knows it basically scraps an http protocol website. So please don't mention that particular thing there. So whenever you assign a web URL, web page URL to while creating a spider, don't write https colon double slash. Okay. So now,
Sir, can you just say what happened? Just
okay,
like I didn't
okay,
understand.
okay. Like when I just copied the URL, it it was something like this, right, Durga? So always remember, whenever you are assigning a URL or a page to be scrapped, you should never mention the HTTP protocol. You just mention the website name and the page, or the domain and the page name. Here you can see this. What happens here, Durga, is that this is the whole website URL, right? Whenever you give the URL to a spider, never mention this,
Okay, sir.
because by default he knows that, or he understands an HTTP protocol. So when the Scrapy will create a spider for us, he will automatically add that protocol to that particular URL. So please don't mention that, as
Yes,
well
sir.
as remove this also. Is
Yes,
it
sir.
okay? Durga, can you
Yes,
got
sir.
this? Okay,
Yes, yes, sir.
great. Okay, so okay, before just entering this, enter this command. I'll just go here. I'll go into this spiders folder, and now once I hit this enter, look at this. What happens here? I entered, and mm, It is taking a bit of time to create a spider. Just a minute. Mm, just a minute. What happened here? Scrapy. Okay, that's working. Scrapy. Gents. Spider. I'll just name the spider name. Okay. Sorry. The URL. Okay, great. So here you can see created a spider with the name countries using a basic templates in a module, and look at this. So if I go to this project folder here, you can see this countries.py, right? This is nothing but my spider. If I open this, I open this in a notepad file here, you can see this. Great. So this is my spider. What is a spider? A spider is nothing but a simple class in Python which inherits some base class called scrapy.spider, name, allowed domain, start URL. Now you all like who are not familiar with Python or were not familiar with programming, not to worry. I'll describe this file in very simple terms. Not to worry. Just before going ahead with the code and everything, I would like to introduce you to an IDE called Visual Studio Code. Okay, it's an intellectual development environment used for rapid development. Like you want to work with web scraping or you want to work with Python, any major language, this Visual Studio Code is an IDE which is freely available. It's a Microsoft product. You can download it and use it. So I'll be using the same Visual Studio Code, okay, for this particular practical. So right now what I'm trying to do is I'm going to my this package manager, that is Anaconda. I'm going to home, and here you can see there are a lot of packages already installed or are provided by this Anaconda so that you can directly install them on your machine. Right now I have already installed VS Code. Okay, that's why I look here, there is this button called launch. Apart from this, like for example Jupyter Notebook, Labs, and other packages I need to install, but right now I have installed VS Code. I have even the PyCharm with me, but for this training purpose I'll just use VS Code. So what I'll do, I'll just launch this VS Code here. Look, you'll be like confused about sir, how's this whole setup working up? I know it's a bit difficult to get into this, but this webinar was totally about introduction to web scraping and a simple demo. So I'm not going in that depth, okay, with this session, but still, here you can see this VS code as open for me. Now what I'll do, I'll just integrate my project, my Scrapy project. Remember, where is my Scrapy project? Here, see users Lalit, new project. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just add this project here. So I'll go to file, open folder, I go to Lalit, I have a new project and say select. Excuse me. Okay, it will take a bit of time to index some files and all. Okay, here you can see, here is my new project. This is nothing but the Explorer. It will define all the files or list all the files in your project. So here I'll be working with my spider file, that is countries.py. So double click on it. Okay, fine. Okay, now I'll simply explain what this file is all about, what are these parameters, and how they will help us in extracting data. Now, look, as I told you, Spider is what? Spider is basically a component in web scraping that goes to a particular web page URL assigned to it, scraps the data, and come back to us, or you can say send that data to us. Now here my spider, like that is countries spider, okay, that's my spider basically. The here the spider name, allowed domains, like right now, what is this parameter basically? Allowed domains is not, I want to make sure that I need to scrap data, or I need to access everything inside this domain. Inside this domain means what? There can be certain links within my this website which may lead to Facebook, or maybe it lead to Twitter, or like, so I want to scrap each and every link. Okay, so I'll make sure it's a best practice to always remove that sub page part. So you need to define whole website domain, or you can say the whole website here. Once that is done, you need to tell the spider which particular page you need to scrap. Here you can see I've mentioned, oh sorry, the spider has already created. Okay, one thing always remember, as I told you in the earlier say few minutes ago, that it has to be an HTTP, like spider uses an HTTP protocol, but our website is basically uses an HTTPS. So it has to be HTTPS here. Just add HTTPS, remember that. Okay, now what is this parse? What is this? This is basically in Python, this is nothing but a function. So what happens, the spider goes to this web page like this, come up here, he'll search for the data which I have been requested for him to be scrapped from this website. And once he scraps that data, where I can get that data? I can get that data within this particular method or a function, you can say. So if I want to extract data, that my spider will take care of, and that data will be parsed, or it will be sent to this function. So I'll write some code here, and once I write that code, I'll be allowed, or I'll be fetching all that data. Okay, now there's one important thing about Scrapy you should know about this. Scrapy or any web scrapping tool has this issue that they they see a website, like right now we are seeing this website, right? This is as per humans, actually I'm seeing this, but when it comes to Scrapy doesn't see a website like what we are seeing right now. It sees the website without JavaScript, or a page without JavaScript enabled. Right now, I suppose if you all are from an IT background, you will be quite familiar with this scripting language, that is JavaScript. Okay, so whenever you want to scrap data from a particular website, you need to make sure the website JavaScript feature is disabled, because with JavaScript enabled, Scrapy cannot scrap the data. So always remember. So whichever web page you want to scrap data from, it has to disable, or that page has to be disabled with the JavaScript functionality. So how you do that? It's very simple. With the Chrome, like right now I'm on Google Chrome browser. So here I have to hit a shortcut key called Control Shift I to open the development tool. Inside this, what I'll do, I'll hit Control Shift P, okay, and here I'll just write JavaScript. Here you can see there is this command called disable JavaScript. I'll just click on this, and you can see here now JavaScript was blocked on this page. You can see this. Okay, great.
Hey,
So now this,
Lalit,
yeah,
Lalit, can you go over this step again? Sorry.
okay. So what you need to do, first of all, I suppose if you want to open the development tool, Chrome developer tool, what you need to do, you need to just hit this keyboard shortcut, that is Control Shift I.
Okay.
Okay, once you are into this developer tool, then you hit a shortcut key, that is Control Shift P. Okay, and here you just mention JavaScript, and you'll get this option to disable JavaScript on this particular page. Is it okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, fine. So once this is done, now I hope this command has already been executed. Now, the most important part, I need to tell Scrapy which data I need to fetch, right? So in on this website, there's n number of data. Okay, before that, one important step I just missed out. Once you disable the JavaScript on this page, just make sure to refresh this page, so that that JavaScript feature is disabled, or it gets into effect. So I'll say Control R. I hit Control R to refresh. Okay. So there will be a slight change in this page. So all the JavaScript has been disabled from this page right now. So now we are seeing the same way that the Scrapy looks at a particular website page. Okay, is it clear now? Now,
Yes.
yeah. Now, okay, as I told you, what I need to find out, I need to find, like for this demo, I'm keeping it very simple. I need to find the title and the country name. Okay, like for example, here you can see this China, India, United States, right? Just imagine, for this small demos purpose, I just fetch all the country names here. Okay, so what I need to do, okay, the first thing, just think about, sir, can you fetch this particular thing here, countries in the world by population? So can this particular heading can be fetched using a Scrapy? I'll show you how to select this. The first thing, always remember, Scrapy by himself cannot fetch data. You need to tell him which particular element you need to search. And for that purpose, you require two things, okay, to basically work with. That is this concept of XPath or CSS. These are the two things which you would require to tell Scrapy either of these things, not both of them, but either of these things you should know if you want to tell Scrapy which particular element or data to be extracted from a website. So what is this XPath or what is this CSS? I'll just help you with a simple definition. What is this XPath? XPath is nothing but it's a mechanism through which you identify elements within a website. Like for example, right now, what is this element basically? If I use this Chrome developer tool, here you can see this. You have this select icon here. I'll just select this and I just click on this section. Look at this. It says it is which element? It's an H1 element. Okay. So I need to tell Scrapy that please visit this website or web page and get me the H1 element on this page. But you need to write that. You need to write that. And that is nothing but with the help of XPath, you need to define that the root, or you can say XPath is basically it identifies the element within a website. So you have to have a knowledge of XPath. You need to create that expression so that Scrapy can go to that web page and identify that particular section and fetch the data for me. Okay, so just think about if I want, if I want to fetch this data. Okay, so how can I do that? So what will be the X path for this particular data to be fetched? Okay, so here you can see this is H1, right? So how we can create that expression? With XPath, I'll simply say H1 slash text. Now, what is this? Text is a function in XPath which goes to every H1 element inside the website and get the text out of it. Like for example, here you can see this H1 element, okay, and this is the text, countries in the world by population, right? So what I want to fetch this data, right? So I tell Scrapy, please go to H1 and fetch the text from that H1 element and give it back to me. I hope everybody understood this.
Yes.
Okay, so that is XPath. Not to worry, because what happens, you have to have an understanding of XPath and CSS to extract data, to tell Scrapy what to be extracted. So you need to know how to create this XPath. Okay. So now let us see, can I fetch this data? Can I fetch this data? I'll go to my Visual Studio Code. Okay. And here I just simply I create a variable title, and here I'll say response dot xpath, and I'll tell him, look Scrapy, you need to go to this URL, worldometers.info, world population by country. In that you search for H1 tag, and once you get that tag, you take the text and give it back to me with this help of this function called get. This is the simple code what I'll be using to extract the data. Now, the most important thing, sir, how can I get the data now? This is what the response will be given by the Scrapy and will be saved inside this title variable. So now, sir, how to display this? How can I get that on my terminal, or how can I fetch that? So always remember, in Scrapy, if you want to get the data from the Scrapy, what yes fetch from the website, you have to create yield method. You have to work with this yield method, and inside this I just say title and I'll pass the variable here. Yeah, this is what I am talking about. So now what will happen, once I tell this spider to crawl, go to this URL, he'll go, he'll search for this XPath expression, and he'll find there may be hundreds of H1, hundred of H1 tags, or it would be a single H1 tag. He'll fetch all the data and save it inside this variable. And with the help of the yield method, yield functionality, I will be displaying it right now. So now this is done. Now, sir, how to run this spider? Okay. So what I'll do, I'll go to my run. Sorry, go. Sorry, I need to start the terminal. So view terminal. You can see this. I'll click on the terminal. Okay. It takes a bit of time. Great. Okay, the Anaconda has activated my virtual workspace. Now I'm good to go to tell Scrapy, go and scrap this data and fetch me the details. So what is the command to tell the spider to crawl? Is Scrapy crawl, and what is my spider name? Countries. So countries, and I hit enter. Let us see whether it scraps that data for us. Okay, I hope he has done that for us. Let us search. Where is it? Odometer, scrap. Okay, finished. Let me check. Where is it? Do we get that? Spider open. There's a lot of log. Log you get here. Okay, we don't have. Look, robots.txt is searching for that particular file. We have the get. Okay. Okay, fine. Here I'm just trying to run this. Okay, title. Okay, okay, fine. So maybe just a minute. There is some issue with this. Let's try and run this once again. Let's try this command once again. Okay. Mm, H1 text get. Okay, that's the title. Yeah, I hope this code has no errors, right? I'll just check for some errors. Just be with me. I'll just help you with that. Just a moment. Let's search for title. Okay, maybe there's some error with the website. Just a minute. I'll 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 just check with the website. Okay, response. Yeah. Okay, I suppose response, right? It has to be. Okay, it has to be response. Yeah. Yeah, it has to be response. Fine. This is title here again. Okay. Maybe I just missed out with the. Okay. Yeah. Because it has to be a part of this function. I missed out with the indentation here. Okay. So I'll just save this and I'll try to run the code again. I'll just clear up this mess. Clear. Now I'll just try to run the spider again. Okay, let us see. 404 population. Okay. Yeah. Okay, maybe H1 is not available to him. Just a minute. I'll add a line of code here. Maybe there is this issue with this URL. Just a minute. I'll try to fetch the countries also. Let us see. Do we get that also? Just a minute. Response dot XPath. Uh, countries. Okay, let me check this. Okay, it's clear. Sorry, it's clear. Let's roll this again. Mm, okay, just a minute. I'll just close my terminal maybe and I'll restart it all again. Just a minute. There can be issues, huh? Because what happens sometimes sites do not allow us to scrap. So just bear with me just few seconds more. I'll just check. I'll just refresh this maybe this website. Okay. Just control shift D. I'll say disable JavaScript one again. Control R. I'll just refresh this. Um, okay, let's try. Okay. Deploy countries. No, it's not. It's not working here. It's not working here. There is some issue with the site. Uh, yeah, there's some issue with the site. Mm, okay, let me check if there is some error with on from my site. It's response.xpath. Yeah, fine. This is fine. Okay, maybe just a Scrapy shell. Okay, I can try here also with the Scrapy shell. I can try. Okay, I'll say fetch. Mm, let me try here. The URL. Okay, that's fine. Now I'll say maybe I just forgot something here. No, it's okay. Mhm. No. Here you can see this countries in the world by population. You can see this.
Yes.
It has been fetched. There was some issue with the maybe there can be some issues at the time. We need to just try it a bit. Here you can see this data has been fetched here. There is
Lalit,
a
you've used the same code,
issue.
no?
Yeah.
The previous code you've used, or have you used
Yeah, this is the
Scrappy
same
Shell?
code. I have not
Code.
changed
Okay.
anything. You can
Yeah.
see this.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Now let us see. I'll just try it here once again. Maybe the there's no issue with the names, right? That doesn't make sense. Okay, fine. Okay, let us try this once again. Yeah, it- it's not fetching the data from the Visual Studio Code. Okay, what I'll do, I'll just open up a project here. Let me try. Just bear with me just few seconds. There is some issues with the site because it's a very simple site.
No problem, sir.
This is something which I have already created, but I'll just change this a bit. Okay, I don't want you all because this is a lot of thing what I've scrapped right now. But for us, we'll keep the same example. Okay, I'll just modify this text here. Okay, just a minute, just a second. I'll just write the code. I'll just comment this here. Okay, let's try this again. I'll go and start my terminal. And Scrapy role spider name is countries. I suppose that's the name, right? Okay, yeah, let's enter. Okay, maybe due to this code, there's some issue. Okay, I'll just remove that code. Just be bit patient, sir. This takes a bit of time.
No problem.
Yeah, here we get. Look at this. By the end, you can see this title:
Yes.
countries in the world by population. Now, just imagine if I want the list of all the countries also, the names of the countries. So here, what I can do, I can create a variable here, countries. I would just say response dot XPath. Now, sir, how to fetch that XPath? Look at this. I'll come up back here. Here you can see this China, right? So what I'll do, I'll just go to this element selector and I just click on this. Here you can see this. it's basically an anchor tag. Okay, it's a basically an anchor tag. It's a link. Okay, it's an anchor tag with the text that is the country name. So you need to tell Scrapy that you need to search all the anchor tags, okay, and provide me the text. So here you can see this China, India, these are all links, okay, and actually I want all the list of all the countries, right? So how I'll tell Scrapy is this way. I'll tell, with the help of XPath, I'll say, now remember the most important thing, this anchor tag belongs to this TD, right? You can see this, sorry, excuse me, TD, it's a part of the table data, right? So you need to tell him, okay, you go to each and every TD, and inside that, whenever you find an anchor tag, go and fetch the text of that anchor tag. Now, as I know, there are n number of links, right? So I cannot say dot get. I need to say get all. So what will happen? It will loop throughout the web page, go to all the TD sections, TD element, and search for an anchor tag. And once he finds that anchor tag, he'll get the text of that. Okay. And once we get that text, let's try to print it. Countries. Okay. And here I would just say the variable name, that is countries. Okay. So let us see, can we fetch the country names also? Okay. I'll just clear up this. Okay, let's tell the Scrapy is the spider to crawl, and let's hit enter. Keep our fingers crossed. Huh? Okay, let us see. Oh, voila. Here you can see this.
Yes.
This is how I got all my country names. You can see this. Hardly seconds. Here, the title and the country. It's a list. It's a Python list. It has created a list for us. Look at that. So I hope you all understood this session about web scraping. I know it takes a bit of time. It will take a time because what happens in certain scenarios, it takes a bit of time to fetch the data. It also depends on the internet connection and the security and firewalls. This all you learn when you go ahead with web scraping in detail. But this session was just a small
Demo
session.
period.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, any questions?
Lalit, can you go back to the website?
Yeah, yeah.
Now that was for the country. For example, there are other elements in the table. For example,
Yeah.
population and legality. So do they have anchor tags, or it will be a separate thing for them?
No, you can also select these also. Like you select this,
Yeah.
you can see this, you click on this.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to tell him.
So
TH,
TH is the anchor tag over there. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Not anchor tag, it's an element. Within
Element.
that,
Okay.
you need to search for population.
Okay. So in place of A, we will put TH over there. Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is like you need to have a good understanding of that XPath. Once you have that
Okay.
understanding of XPath, how to you create an expression, how to tell him which particular section of the page you need to fetch the data, then it's
Yeah.
very easy for us. It's just all
Okay.
about that XPath and just a few lines of Python code, the Scrapy code, and then you get all the data.
Just one more thing I want to ask over here. For example, in the other tables, for example, the columns you have population or yearly change, these are not linked, correct?
Yeah,
There is, for example, the country name, it is like a link. Basically, it will take you to another page, correct?
yeah.
So there is no difference. I mean, the spider, when you're fetching data, it won't differentiate, correct?
No, it's not. It's just about
It
you
will
need
just
to
get the
fetch
text.
text.
It will just get the text, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
So these are a lot of things. Like for example, if I'll show you one more example. If you want, look at this.
Yes.
I'll just bring back this one command here. I'll bring my old code here. Look at this code here. This code gives me country name, the year, and the population.
Yes.
That means just think about I go to I'll tell the spider to go to each and every link, open up the link, and fetch me the population for each and every year. Getting it?
Okay. Yep.
So this is actually a code. This is bit that would be much more to be discussed today,
Yes.
because what happens that a lot of people are just curious about what is web scraping. They will not know the basic terms and everything. So I just kept it very simple for y'all. But if you want, I can run this for y'all.
Yeah, you
I'll
can.
just run this code for y'all, and we can see each and every detail here. So I'll just clear up this. Oh, sorry. Let's clear up this. Okay, and now I'll just say Scrapy roll the spider, and let us see.
Just one more question I'll have later on once the terminal
Sorry.
executes. Just one more question I'll have after this, once the terminal executes the data. Um, okay, now, Lalit, this data you get is in the terminal, correct?
Yeah.
Where does it get collected? Where does all this data?
Yes. I was coming up to that
Okay, you're
only.
coming to
Then
that.
we
Okay.
need to create data sets for that. I'll be showing you a simple example. How can I the data what is fetched by the spider to be saved in an JSON file, or maybe into an XML file. Okay, I'll show you an example right now. Okay,
So there are only two options, JSON and XML over here.
JSON, XML, CSV.
CSV as well, no?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Just a minute. I'll
Yeah, sure.
just try to run this first. Okay. Okay. Look at the speed, and again it depends on your machine also. If you have a good config machine, this takes
Okay.
hardly seconds to scrap. You can see this. It's scrapping each and every page. It takes a bit of time. You just need to hold it. There are n number of countries with,
Yes.
yeah. Just be patient. Be with me.
Because what you're getting right now is raw data over here.
Yeah. Sorry.
I said because what you're getting over here is raw data. Then we'll definitely have to convert it into some form to be able to visualize.
Yeah. Okay. We are done with this. Okay. Look at this. Russia year 1990. Look at that. 1985, 80, 75. You can see this?
Yes.
Okay. Now you want me to save this into JSON, right? So, like maybe a CSV or a JSON. Okay. So I'll just say Scrapy. I'll just name this as uh, countries dot countries data dot. You want me into CSV or JSON or XML? Anything will do. Hello. Uh,
Jason or
Jason.
CSV should be
Okay,
good.
fine. So, Jason. Okay, on the left hand side, you can see this. There's this file created here.
Yeah, I couldn't see the step where you the way you created it.
Sorry.
I couldn't see the step how you created it.
Okay, I'll show you that.
Yeah,
You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We this
yeah,
video will
I'll
be
definitely
uploaded
do
there
that
also.
after this.
Yeah, not to worry. I'll help you with that. Not to
Yeah.
worry. There are a lot of concepts with this, like working with Scrapy. There are other libraries, how to create data sets, how to save it into an SQLite. So there are a lot of stuffs.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there are a lot of raw data that visualizers get, and
Yeah.
after that sorting is then after you get a JSON file, then we sort it out within the file. Try to sort it within the file if it's possible, and then other than that, use the tool that we use to visualize. If there is an interpreter, we use interpreters.
Okay. So here is this file here.
Yeah.
Just click on this file. Yeah. Control J just to minimize this. Here you can see. Here you can see this data.
Yes.
I'll just use Control F. Oh, sorry. Yes. Mm, mm. There is this option. Just a minute. Maybe I messed up with some important thing here. Mm, mm. Okay. So I suppose that would be fine for this session. I hope you all understood this.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So if you all really want to know more about web scraping, uh, we are like at ITH, we are soon launching a training, special training. That's a weekend batch. If you are all interested to know more about web scraping, you want to learn about web scraping in detail, you can help us. You can just visit our website or you can contact us. Like for example, if you want, I suppose at the start of the session I help you all with our details, right? You can
Yes.
follow us as well as you can, if you want, we can. We do provide trainings with this web scraping, Python, everything.
Sir,
So
can you just show the number?
okay, just a minute. I'll show you the social media where you can follow us. All the details related to social media. Mm, okay, this is how you can follow us for any training requirements, as well as you can keep in touch with us for more webinars. There's a new webinar maybe coming soon, maybe maybe next Sunday. That is working with AI to create chatbots. Okay, there would be an introduction to that also. Fine. So I'll wind up this session. Hopefully, you all uh, got to learn something, and thank you for joining this webinar.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So I'll stop here. Fine. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you, Lalit. Was